I can play with my kundalini, literally shooting up the energy and just like sit in bliss right now if I want to. And I can express powers of the third eye. I can body scan. I can do things that I never thought I would be able to do. And I live this life now that is so beyond what I used to live. For those of you who do not know me, my name is Sri Nithyananda. I am an ordained Nityananda Yoga Acharya and a disciple of Bhagavan Sri Nithyananda Paramashivam, who is my guru. I was never a spiritual person growing up. It wasn't until I became 27 or so that I had my awakening. I think it was 27 or so. What happened was I just had this huge revelation that there's something more to this reality. And one thing led to another. I read a spiritual book by Eckhart Tolle, and I read this book called The Celestine Prophecy, watched The Secret, and had incredible spiritual experiences. But it wasn't until I actually had met this being on YouTube who turned out to be a guru, which I didn't know. Now today, looking back and seeing everything from the perspective that I do now, it's really interesting, and here's why. When I met Swamiji for the first time, I didn't see him as anything like amazing. It wasn't like Jesus just walked across water and all of a sudden Swamiji was there. But for me, he was really different. He was really like graceful. The way he entered into the room was just completely something that I've never seen before. And the way he carried himself it's hard to put words on. And so when he walks in the room, I remember just like kind of assessing him and being like, okay, like who is this, And I just knew something was there. I could feel his immense positivity. And the more I kind of was around him during this 21-day program that I had come to India for, the more I started to resonate with him, and I could really feel my body's frequency and vibrations start to pick up. And it was really, really interesting. As the program went on, I was given various different initiations, and I remember just leaving the program a completely different person. I had so much crap within me that just got emptied out. It was the ultimate detoxification. Like, I used to carry what people thought of me, like how I looked. And as I check myself out now today, I don't care what people think of me as, like, because I was concerned with people thinking I'm ugly. But now today I'm like, man, like I always talk good about myself. I truly feel like I'm a pretty individual, because now I feel myself as divine. And I understood that concept before, but it wasn't until that program that I started to really feel divine and feel like I was the universe. And I understood like law of attraction before and energy, but it wasn't until now that I was now feeling divine. It's been a real interesting journey to get to where I am today, because now, as I said, I am a full-on disciple. I lived in Swamiji's ashram for the last 3 years, and I was blessed to really be a big part of his yoga department. And so it's been a fun journey from this disciple that was, from the sidelines to now somebody that's kind of really dove into his mission and jumped in to be a part and start to learn about this lifestyle more and more as I would delve into it. And Sanatana Hindu Dharma is where yoga comes from. It's the source. And Swamiji is just so integrated to every source scripture, whether it's to get up at a certain time, whether it's to offer puja at a certain time in a certain way. I mean, everything in the temple in his ashram is like completely aligned to Agama, whether it's offering like 7 specific pujas in one day, waking up the deities at a specific time, putting them to sleep at a specific time. Everything is per the scriptures. And so it's really cool to live that lifestyle, because everything we did in the adinam, in the ashram, is exactly that. Like, you're supposed to be practicing yoga during Brahma Muhurta. That's the time that we're doing that. And so when I got to dive in and live this lifestyle, it was like, it just takes you to the next level. And it truly is an empowering space to be in. I've seen so many people come and go over those years, whether it's for programs or just coming for visits, etc. When somebody comes in for the first time, they know it. They feel it. They can just taste it, and it's because it's nothing else in the world can compare to it. And I've been to seeing the Dalai Lama as well before I met Swamiji, or that was after I met Swamiji. And I went and I visited Art of Living ashram, and that was a really nice ashram. I had darshan from Sri Sri there, but nothing else was like this, being around Swamiji and being in his home and his energy field and get trained by him by hand. He's guiding you personally. So it was a really amazing experience, an intense lifestyle. As I said, like, everything there is happening at literally a different dimension. And this is where Gary Vaynerchuk comes in, because if you know who Gary Vaynerchuk is, he's a really interesting guy, and he's a very intense person. How he operates and how he lives and how he has his business function. He's just constantly going, doing, making things happen, and he's got this integrity to him and aura about him. And this is a spiritual quality. He's not a guru by any means, but he has, millions and millions of people following him, not even that are entrepreneurs or businessmen, but people that are just wanting to be inspired because of the way he's living. And what I'm getting at is that this is a powerful spiritual quality that Swamiji already knows of and has his disciples living. And when you get to that space, it's a higher frequency. It's an intensity that exists. And when you can resonate at that frequency in that field, that's where it's like the real gains happen. It's like going to the gym and, when, let's say you never had a gym trainer and you go to the gym and you start like doing things for the first time, and you don't really know what you're doing, and you're kind of walking around trying to like act like you know what you're doing, right? But then you get a personal trainer and they know exactly where to push you. They put you through the best workout you've ever had, right? It's the same thing in a spiritual dimension with Swamiji and with even Gary Vaynerchuk, with how he's living. When we operate the way that we were raised, we function at such a slow pace, but how these successful people operate is at a tremendous speed. And I don't really want to compare Swamiji to Gary Vaynerchuk in that way, because I just use Gary Vaynerchuk as a way for you to understand and connect to what I'm saying. In Kailasa, in Swamiji's ashram, it is next level. It's everything is go, go, go. And it really brought me back to the space of when I used to play hockey. I was a professional ice hockey player, and there's nothing like getting into a game and just being like so in the moment, and you have a band of brothers with you, and you're literally going out to a war with this other team. And when you're with Swamiji and when you're with his mission, it's such an inspiring lifestyle to live, like to wake up and function as ancient yogis did, to bathe as they did, to practice yoga as authentically as they did, to offer puja, to worship deities as they did, and then to go out and enrich the world like they did it's just an incredible way of life. And so there's so much gratitude just that comes up when I start talking about it. And so this was the lifestyle that I'd lived for 3 years. Right now, a lot of people are stirring up this controversy that it's a cult and that this is something that we should be keeping our eyes out and really questioning Swamiji and his teachings. And this is actually the longest running cult in human history. And I'm going to give you the essence of why that is. Because as I said, everything that Swamiji does is as per the scriptures, right? And the first thing we're going to look at is the Netra Tantra. And the Netra Tantra it comes from Kashmiri Shaivism. a philosophy in Sanatana Hindu Dharma, and it's so one of the oldest, most sacred texts on the planet. And in it, it says, "In the play and projection of my magnificent third eye, Trinetra Kalpana, is the substance of these three. I create, sustain, and destroy the universe." The author of this book, who the I is, I create, I sustain, and I destroy the universe, is known as Shiva. It's the all-pervading, all-encompassing consciousness. He is the creator of the cosmos. He made the Big Bang happen, and he made this life and this world happen. So he created the universe. And again, this science, we know this, something created the universe. Something is sustaining the universe, right? Like Earth, and we're able to live and function on this planet. That is Shiva as well. He's keeping the environment the way it is, like the atmosphere, the perfect atmosphere for us to operate on this planet, etc. And then he also destroys, and he's the one that, whether it's throwing an asteroid into the planet, millions of years ago, or even just creating a small fire. He is the destroyer. He is making that happen. That is what this scripture is saying, that Shiva created the Big Bang, created everything, and is sustaining it and does destroy it as well. And so this is one of the main understandings that you need to have as a yogi. Now, what I want you to understand is that after this, there's another text called the Shiva Samhita. And in the Shiva Samhita, this is also coming from Shiva, the creator of the cosmos, saying these words: "Having given all his cattle and property to the guru who knows yoga, and having satisfied him with the great care, let the wise man receive this initiation." So what this is saying is, if you want to practice yoga and you want to experience yoga, which is union with this Shiva, the creator of the cosmos, then you should be taught by a guru. And Shiva is saying that we should offer all of our cows, so basically all of our wealth and all of our possessions, and offer that to the guru and then have him train us. And so this is where the whole cult thing needs to end, because these are coming from the most sacred texts and ancient texts on the planet. And then after this, in the Kirana Agama, he says that through the practice of yoga, he can attain liberation, he can ascend to the state of ineffable bliss. So the goal of yoga is for us to attain this state of ineffable bliss, which is, you are everything, you are everywhere, you are Shiva, you are the creator. And each one of these scriptures is really teaching us that, is guiding us that. So right now, how is this a cult? I don't know. Ultimately, the goal of life in Hinduism is liberation from this third dimensional reality where we take birth after birth after birth and keep experiencing the same things over and over and over until we learn those lessons and really start to ultimately embrace our truest self, which is that I am not this human being, that I am pure consciousness, I am everywhere, I am in everything, I am Paramashiva. And that is the guru's job. And that's what my guru has been teaching me and all of his devotees and disciples that have traveled to him in India and all around the world. And then also I just want to mention in the Hatha Pradipika of Svatmarama, he brings up a very powerful teaching, and Svatmarama is a well-known sage. He only learned from his master and these scriptures as well. And what this sage is saying is that when the dormant kundalini gets aroused by the grace of Guru, then alone all the padmas, all the lotus chakras, and the granthis, the knots within the body, they get pierced. What Svatmarama is saying, this great sage, is that it is the grace of the Guru that arouses the Kundalini. The grace of the Guru is necessary. Okay, so with this understanding, how is this a cult? These are the most sacred texts on the planet. There's a lot of different scriptures that talk about how you should worship Guru and the proper ways of doing that. But ultimately, it comes down to that feeling connection that you have. If your mom walks into the room and your heart just melts to look at her and you just feel so loved and excited, you have every right to feel that way. Just like when Swamiji walks into this room, like I saw him for the first time, and all of these people, they just feel so much reverence and gratitude and just love him for who he is and just what he's doing, then everybody has the right to have that feeling themselves. And if they feel like giving all of their cows and all of their possessions, like it says in this scripture, then they have every right to do that if they feel inspired to do so. Just like you have every right to give all of your money to charity if you choose to do so. I feel this great reverence towards Swamiji today because I've seen him do so many incredible things over the years, and I'm not going to get into that in this video. You can check out the rest of my channel if you'd like to see more. But I have this deep feeling connection and deep love for him because I truly understand that he is my ultimate possibility. He is your ultimate possibility to express and be Paramashiva. And his only interest is for you to experience that state as well. And he will do anything in his power as long as you give your free will to help you achieve that state, if that is in fact what you want. I want to just share with you that that's what this channel is all about, for me to just share my journey and to somehow inspire you to find and seek your divinity. And from my experience, I can say that all of these scriptures are saying it, and I've got this incredible experience with the divine now through my guru, and I can play with my kundalini, literally shooting up the energy and just like sit in bliss right now if I want to. And I can express powers of the third eye. I can body scan. I can do things that I never thought I would be able to do. And I live this life now that is so beyond what I used to live. And so with that, that's my take on cults, the Nithyananda Sangha, and Gary Vaynerchuk. And I just want to end this with, I want you to always question who is teaching you, and this is one of the first things that you learn as a Hindu. It is that question everything. The entire Upanishads is all about making you question life. And Sam Harris, he is somebody that's written a book called The Awakening. And in one of his chapters, it's titled On the Dangers of Gurus and Cults. And in this chapter, this is one of the reasons that he's justifying to be careful about who you learn from. And he says, if your golf instructor told you to shave off your head, sleep no more than 4 hours a night, renounce sex, and subsist on a diet of raw vegetables, you would find a new golf instructor. However, when gurus make demands of this kind, many students simply do so as directed, because this is a cult. People shave their heads, we wear juttas, we make ourselves look certain ways, we wear rudraksha, we do things for a reason, because it is a science. Sanatana Hindu Dharma is a science of you uniting with the cosmos, you experiencing yoga. And it's not because our guru just says so and we do it, and it's for us to achieve the ultimate. And again, free will, we can choose whatever we want. We can do anything that we want. We don't need to worry about whether our guru is going to make us do something we don't want to. You can leave at any time. This is the grace of the guru, and it's written in multiple scriptures. And this argument is so stupid, because how can you really compare these things to somebody that wants to improve golf? In actuality, they probably all would help their golf game, but let's just not go there. So with that, I'm going to end this video. I'm dragging on here and it's getting late at night. And if you enjoyed this video and you're new to the channel, please subscribe and hit the bell icon. You won't miss out on any future videos that come out. And I truly hope you all appreciated this, and let me know in the comments section down below if I missed anything. I know there's a lot of holes that you could poke into this argument if you're really looking for that right now. And if so, just leave them in the comments and I'll respond to you there. And if not, hopefully you enjoyed and you learned something from it too. And at the very least, I hope that you are open to the teachings of my guru, because they are extremely empowering and they're beyond anything I've heard anywhere else. So have a great evening, everybody. Thank you very much for tuning in. And as always, be blissful. Nithyananda.